Last week on the show, you told me for the UAB game, you're expecting a great game. You got it, and you were on the right end, 77-72 in overtime. You guys were actually down 6 with 4:27 left. You ended on an 8-2 run. What does that speak about your team to not only handle adversity, but also on the road?
Well, I'm excited about what our team did. I didn't give up on them, but I thought that we were in a bind. UAB was playing pretty good. They were really going to the boards hard. They had a couple of young ladies that were handling the pressure and taking care of the basketball. But there was a timeout in that span, and Taisha Petty looked at me and the rest of the team and said, hey, we're not losing this game. And, it kind of gave me a vote of confidence in our basketball team. They go back out, and Ty hadn't really played well offensively all night, and the first thing she did was knock down a three. And, if you look at her assist and, what she did that last, I guess, the 5 minutes of overtime, the last 4 minutes of the game, that's when winners show up, is when you're in a bind, when your team needs you. They need leadership. They need to have confidence in your point guard, and I think Ty Petty showed that. So I'm excited about what I saw right there.
Ty Petty, you mentioned her offense late. She also had double-figure assists, 4th time she's done it this season, first time ever in program history. What does that speak about Ty Petty, that she's not only a scoring point guard, but she can also be a true point guard and assist first?
Well, Allen, she's been a winner her whole life. When we recruited her, there were several people that was after her, and we sold her on the fact of playing at home, being a hometown hero, and that we were going to put the basketball in her hands, and we've done that. And she's going to go down as one of the all-time great point guards, if not the best point guard in the history of Middle Tennessee State University. Now, I really don't know how you judge all of that, because, they may say, well, how many NCAA tournaments did she lead you to, and this and that. Well, the schedule that we're playing, we played last year, and the schedule we played this year, it's pretty tough. And she's going, I've said this to Tony, and I've said this to everybody that would listen to me. I think Ty Petty is one of the top 5 point guards in the country. I think that she'll play after she gets through playing for Middle Tennessee State, possibly in the WNBA, because she knows how to share the basketball, and she can shoot the heck out of the basketball, and she's gritty and quick. So she's got all the intangibles that you need, that these people are looking for, and she just needs an opportunity.
Defense for your team. Last week we talked about what's it going to take to get a win. You said defend Chelsea Black. First time out, you said she held herself to 9 points. Do you feel like your defense held her to 13 points, or does she held herself to 13 points?
Well, I think we are familiar enough with Chelsea Black now that it does not take away from her abilities. She's still one of the top point guards in our conference. But I think they get motivated. Chelsea gets motivated to play against Ty, and Ty gets motivated to play against Chelsea. And, she got 13 points, but hey, we had to go into overtime to beat them. So, it could have very well, the roles could have been reversed. So, I thought she played well. I thought she hit some shots on us that were just unreal shots. I mean, running hook shots, jump shots when they need. I thought there was one time that we may have got up 6 early in the third quarter, and she just takes the ball and drives it down and sticks one right on top of us with us all over. And I thought right then, she's not going to let this thing slip away. And she didn't. And then you go to the other side, Taisha Petty said, hey, I'm not going to let this thing slip away. So it was a great battle.
Lastly, for the UAB game, Alex Johnson, we have
She's
to
a
talk
horse.
about
She's
that.
a horse. I've told you over and over, just like the Frosty Morn little pig. She's a horse.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a winner.
She had 29 points. It's a new career high, but
Should have had 40.
yeah, because to start off the game, she missed her first handful of shots, but for her to still stick with it and to get that 29 points, again, she got Freshman of the Week. Ty's Hall of Famer Priscilla Robinson. Talk about her season so far.
Allen, that's what winners do. I mean, we recruited a young lady that comes from a great family that had a magnificent career in high school, won 2 state championships, was up for AAA Miss Basketball, and we were able to convince her, much like Ty Petty, hey, you need to stay at home and play in front of these fans. I mean, why would you want to go play Division I basketball if you're from this area anywhere else but Middle Tennessee? You're playing in front of 5,000 people every night. That's not going to happen other places.
The 29 career points is great, but to tie Hall of Famer Priscilla Robinson, she still has 2 weeks left to try to get her 6. We talked about it before. She probably never expected to get this.
I don't think that's on her mind. She's probably not. Right now, she's already forgotten about getting Player of the Week this morning. She's sitting over in the science building right now worrying about making sure she's got her homework done. And looking forward to coming up that ramp to get ready for Western Kentucky. I can tell you right now what's on her mind. She's not thinking about that. Hey, Priscilla Robinson's one of the all-time greatest players that's ever played here. So with her tying her record, then basically what that's saying to Alex Johnson is, I'm laying the foundation to one day be in the Hall of Fame. If she's there and I've done this and she did this and she's in the Hall of Fame, then one day maybe I can get into the Middle Tennessee State Hall of Fame, which would be one of the biggest honors that could ever come down the pipe for her. So, you know, let's hope that takes place. Let's hope she keeps her health, and we're sitting here 12 years from now and celebrating the fact that Alex Johnson is in the Hall of Fame.
We have Western on Thursday. The last time out, you guys won 85-73. I want to talk about Bria Edwards. She had 19 points, 5 of 6 from 3 in the first half. Down on the other end of that court in that corner was her sweet spot. The second half, they went box and one, but you guys are ready for that because I've sat in on some of your practices, and you guys are practicing that, and you guys are ready if they want to throw
when
that out. When
someone throws a junk defense at you, this is what they're telling you. We're not as good as you. I mean, it's bottom line. We're not as good as you. We can't beat you head up. Now, you know, have I used junk defenses before? Absolutely, I have. I don't know what Western or Marshall or anybody else is going to do, but, and you're right, every day we go over triangle and 2, we go over the box and 1 and the diamond and 1, and we go over, you know, our defensive strategies and things. So, you know, the one thing that I think we've grown, our team, is that we're able to recognize that now. You know, when Western threw that at us, we had that thrown at us before, but we didn't pick it up quick enough, and we turned the ball over 2 or 3 times. But then we scored 7 straight points off of it, and they come out of it. So, you know, that's something that as a coach, and I'm sure Michelle and her staff, they got to feel that. You know, they're probably going to use it. Will they stay with it all night? I guess that's a feel thing. You know, a hunch. Do you think this is what we need to do? And that's what coaching's all about. When we go there, we know we're going to play in front of a pretty good-sized crowd, and that we're going to be able to bring some fans. And it's an exciting night of basketball. Plus, we're going to be on national TV Thursday night. Now, if you can't get excited about that, then you just don't need to be playing Division I basketball.
Anytime someone throws a junk defense at you, other players have to step up. The last time against Western Kentucky, Abby Sism, 16 points. In the last 6 games, she scored double figures in 4 of those games. Is she kind of the X factor in this game offensively?
Any night she could explode for 40 points. Any night. I mean, that's the type of player she is. And her worst enemy is her. And the same thing, you go down our lineup, you know, Tiana's the same way. Her worst enemy is her. Becca Ruta, her worst enemy. When they get through that, and you never know, there's a pivot point. When they get through that, they'll never go back. You know, first time Abby gets 30, she's not going to want to go back to getting 6. She's going to want to get 18 to 30 every night, and that's what we're looking for, you know. And, you know, she's going to have that opportunity. Hey.
You told me last week on the show, these next 3 games are going to tell you a lot about your team. You have Marshall on Saturday. You're a third of the way through this 3-game road stretch. What have you learned so far just in this last game?
Well, we don't quit, you know, and I knew that going down there. But, Allen, I'm telling you about this team. I enjoy watching them. I enjoy coaching them. I enjoy watching them play. I mean, they're very methodical. They know what they want to do offensively. Defensively, they do a good job. We're not a great defensive team, but we're a pretty good defensive team. Sometimes our downfall is our rebounding. Sometimes we go out and we'll get 54 rebounds. And then the next night we'll get 21 against a team that's not as good a rebounding team as the one we just got 54 against. I want to see how we're going to handle the next two games. And then, Saturday night on the way home, we'll either be ecstatic or we'll be trying to figure out what we need to do in practice to correct those weaknesses, because we still have a week with FIU and FAU.
A degree is more than a piece of paper. Your college experience should be exciting, engaging. You should feel proud of your university. With over 140 majors taught by a highly respected and caring faculty and hands-on classes in state-of-the-art facilities, MTSU provides you the training and expertise you need to excel. Middle Tennessee State University is devoted to your success. Discover the MTSU difference. Become True Blue.
Before we even get to the UAB game itself, can you just talk about the atmosphere that was here for Sunday's game?
Well, I sure appreciate all the people, nearly 8,000. We had a great student body crowd. Our community really showed up. It was loud, and great environment in the arena, and watched a really good competitive first half. And last couple minutes, we kind of took the crowd out of the game. UAB played really, really well.
You mentioned in your post-game press conference, UAB played like a top 25 team. Everybody makes their open shots, but it's those tough shots that if they make, you just kind of tip your hat off to them in making those tough shots, because you guys were able to get hands up in their faces and make it tough for them.
Yeah, and they seem like they play their best against us, and because it's always a big game, whether it's a championship game or, we're up 12 at the half down there, and their team really responded. But they did. They were athletic. They were on point. I thought they defended at a high level, and then on top of that, Dirk Williams, who kind of made his last 2 out of the last 14 threes, jumped up and made a lot of shots to give him an extra score in the perimeter.
Looking at the free throw line, a lot of people say if you make more free throws than the other team attempts, you're going to be in a good position to win the ball game. They were 16 of 22. You guys were 8 of 12. Is that something you look to hopefully change, for the rest of the season and into the tournament?
It's always on our board, that to get to the line, and we've got to do a better job of that. We didn't really play through contact. We avoided contact in the paint. And then, obviously Reggie's getting to the line a lot, and he's really having a lot of struggles at the free throw line. He's working diligent on it, but it's something that he's got to improve, because he's a guy on our team. The ball's in his hands. He's getting balls to the rim. He's going to get fouled more than anybody, and so we need him to do a better job. He's shooting about probably 40% in the last 5 or 6 games.
You play a lot of guys, so you look to hopefully get a lot of production off your bench. Can you talk about Quay? He didn't get the starting nod, but he did come off the bench well and produce well offensively for you.
Yeah, he had a really bad week of practice, and he wasn't very competitive in practice, wasn't very physical. He scored the ball. He still has a lot of lapses defensively and a lot of things the average fan doesn't see. You compare him to a guy like Norton at UAB, who does all the intangible things. I mean, just defensively hits guys when they're open. And Quay's still a young guy, he's a sophomore, but you're right, he got the ball to the rim, he scored some points. If he can start defending and kind of start playing more like a point guard, he could really be a good player for us.
Now 2 days after the game, looking back on it, what are some things you take away from and want to improve on before your big, crucial homestand Thursday and Saturday?
Well, we've got to be a better rebounding team. We didn't share the ball great. I thought the ball stuck in our hands. UAB had something to do with it as far as defensive pressure, but the ball never got side to side. It stuck. And so the ball's got to move. And when our team has played at a high level, the ball has moved. So rebounding, guarding the dribble, and being able to move the ball side to side, 3 things we got to get better.
Last time at Western, you guys were able to get a victory, 66-64. What's it going to take for you guys to repeat that performance and get that win on Thursday with a game on ASN?
Well, Western Kentucky has been a really good team. They have lost a lot of close games, our game included. We got up to a big lead in the first half by 18, maybe got 19 in the second half. They did a great job. They got a tough team. They're physical. They guard. They're just sound. They're a good rebounding team. And I think it'll be just a typical rivalry game, just what we've seen, what happened in Bowling Green. Hopefully we have another really, really good crowd, and our team's going to have to be a more physical team guarding the dribble than we were against UAB.
If you look at against UAB, Darnell Harris got a little bit in foul trouble in that first half. You mentioned it in your post-game press conference. At Western, he was your leading scorer. Is that something you really want to emphasize, is to stay out of foul trouble early so that way he can stay on the court?
Well, Darnell's got to do a better job of defending. Sometimes he gets out of position defending, he gets fouls, but he's a huge part of our team. At Western, down the stretch, I think he maybe scored the last 10 or 11 to win the game. He's made some huge shots for us all year long, late games, so he's a big part of what we do. We got to get him to rebound the ball better. If he does that, I mean, he can really impact games at a high level in our league.
You touched on it a little bit just a minute ago, hoping to having a great crowd. Does that atmosphere, do your players really feed off that atmosphere here in the Murphy Center?
Well, we did. I mean, like I said, it doesn't, like we saw the other night, it was, nearly 8,000 people. It doesn't ever guarantee anything, but it sure helps. And but like I said, when our fans show up, they know exactly how to act. We had a vibrant student body. It was a great atmosphere, and for a nationally televised game, which showed really well to the nation, about our fan base. And we got to do a better job of playing better in front of that kind of atmosphere, and we've usually done it here, based on our record over the last 4 or 5 years.
You look at the assisted turnover. Last week you also said you like to combine steals and blocks and compare it to your turnovers. What do those numbers need to look like on Thursday and Saturday for you guys you look at those stats, you're like, that's a great game, that's one of the reasons why we won this game?
Yeah, I think any coach likes to see assists to baskets made. If you get 70 to 73, 74%, you're doing really, really well. It means the ball is really sharing, passes leading right to buckets. And then points off turnovers. It's just we'd love to keep ours to about 4 to 6. If we can get 14 to 18 points off opponents' turnovers, it gets us in transition more. Anything that deals with number of possessions, taking away possessions, steal is a taking away possession. Usually when you block a shot, you take away a possession compared to turnovers. So I think all those stats just lead to more possessions and gives our team a chance to hopefully win some close games.